What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going over all the dinosaurs that appeared in The Lost World, the novel. Spoilers ahead, and let's get into it. Procomsignathus, also known as Compies. They're first seen spooking Eddie Carr, who throws a rock at them. Although they don't actually run away, they just dodge the rock and a few hiss at him, not being afraid of the humans as they had not actually seen one. They are then seen following the Parasaurolophus, eating the fresh dung, or poop, and biting Richard Levines on the ear, envenomating him. Dodson then encounters the Compies after he awakes from a car crash. Their venom was making him not notice that they were actually eating him alive. They then start following him. Until he hides in a shed, and they bang on the doors and windows, essentially trying to get in, but they're pretty much kept at bay by the shed. The next dinosaur we see in the novel is actually Stegosaurus. One Stegosaurus is seen licking Sarah's face after she wakes up on the island. She actually leaves it by the riverbank. However, she says it felt like a horse was licking her, and she actually didn't even really think it was a dinosaur until she later on basically had to say, okay, this is a dinosaur. After that, we actually see Dinosaur. They're seen in the valley, basically hopping from place to place for protection, hanging around some of the larger dinosaurs. Then we see Nanosaurus. They're also seen in the valley, hopping from place to place, pretty much looking for protection, just like the Dryasauruses were. The next named dinosaur is actually the Apatosaurus. Apatosaurus in the novel are actually the main sauropod on the island. It lives in the valley alongside the Parasaurolophus, and they're actually working together to keep safe. We see the herd a lot while the group is essentially just in the high hide observing the dinosaurs that are in the valley. We also actually end up seeing a graveyard of Apatosauruses and other dinosaurs near the bend in the river, and that's actually by the Velociraptor's nest. Later on, a raptor being pursued by Sarah and Kelly actually runs into the herd, and Sarah and Kelly riding their motorcycle through the legs of the Apatosaurus like we see in the film, and Kelly actually describes it as like driving through a living forest. The next group of dinosaurs we see is actually the Pachycephalosaurus. Initially they are misidentified as Gravitholus. First seen grazing in the valley from the group in the high hide, Howard King then sees a large herd of them while driving. He attempts to drive through the herd, but they start attacking the vehicle, damaging it, and eventually King himself, though he does manage to get away. Harding eventually comes across the herd, with one knocking her out of a tree and trapping her underneath the car until the herd is scared away by the T-Rex. After that, we have the Parasaurolophus. First seen in the valley with the rest of the herbivores, Levine would then follow a member of the herd to where they were essentially using the bathroom, and this is where he actually sees the Compies eating the dung of the Parasaurolophus. The next dinosaur we see is actually Triceratops. A herd of them is seen crossing a creek, basically replacing the Stegosaurus scene from the movie by Eddie, Ian, and Doc Thorne, and they follow them to the valley. The herd is then seen drinking from the river until the raptors attack, causing them to create a ring around the baby and fend the raptors off. King then spooks the herd in the valley after escaping the Pachycephalosaurus and triggering the raptors to once again try and attack the Triceratops herd. The next dinosaurs we see are actually the Maiasaura. They're actually mislabeled as Maiasaurus on the novel map. We see that they're all sharing a nesting site for protection, but they are driven away so Dodson and his group can steal their eggs. They are next seen retrieving the newly hatched babies from the car. The babies are actually shown to be covered in fuzz, which I thought was like a really cool thing they actually put into the novel way back when. The next dinosaur we have is actually the Musasaurus? I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce this one, guys. Seen by Levine when he first appears on the island, this one actually runs away as he is attacked by the Carnotaurus. The next dinosaur is actually kind of a little bit unknown. It's possibly Ornitholestes, however, it's dead. So basically a dead one is examined by Levine, where he goes into pretty great detail describing it. He also finds a tag on the animal, which makes him realize that it had been caught or at least tagged at some point in the past, and which means that people have actually handled whatever that animal is, and we're pretty sure it's Ornitholestes, but it's never actually like confirmed in the novel. The next dinosaurs we see are actually the Carnotaurus. The Carnotaurus are first seen, or kind of technically not seen, because the Carnotaurus actually have the ability to camouflage themselves better than chameleons. It's actually probably the best version of camouflage we see in any Jurassic media, and it's actually only second only, I would say, to the Indominus Rex, though we only see the Indominus Rex do it once, or maybe twice. But basically, they're first seen or not seen by Levine when he first arrives on the island, where they attack and kill his guide. Next, They are seen, or kind of not seen, while the group is hiding in the worker village. Two Carnotaurus with the camouflage abilities were hunting them until the group shines lights at them, and it basically messes with their camouflage abilities and eventually causes them to run away because they can't camouflage. However, during the entire process, they actually do scare away the T-Rex and the Raptors, saving a bunch of people. The next dinosaurs we see are actually the Tyrannosaurus. First seen by Kelly and Arby in the trailer, it basically walks by and they stay really quiet. That same Tyrannosaurus is then seen by Thorn, Eddie, and Malcolm carrying a carcass back to its nest, where it basically scent marks the car. Once we get to the nest, you actually see the pair of Tyrannosaurus with two babies and eggs. The babies also are shown to have fuzz that they will basically lose as they grow up. During this time, Thorn actually rescues Levine, who is studying the Rexes in a tree. However, they fall out and the pair notice them chasing after them on the motorcycle before the Rexes eventually just kind of give up because they can't catch him. After that, the next time we see the Rexes is when Dodson, Battleton, and King attempt to steal their 3 eggs. King does manage to steal an egg, but breaks a baby's leg, which causes the adults to get angry. Dodson then tries to pick up another egg, but ends up unplugging the sound box they were using to keep the T-Rexes at bay. The female then kills Battleton because he thought it couldn't see him if he held still. However, this was actually a mistake, and it's kind of a retcon they did from the first novel to this one, where they're saying, no, the T-Rex could actually see you the entire time. It was most likely just the rain that caused them to not attack. So he thought that it couldn't see him if he stood still, and he was wrong. The 2 remaining men do actually manage to escape. However, the T-Rex does corner their escape car. After this, Ian's group tries to assess the damage, basically finding the injured baby, and Eddie brings it back to the vehicle, where even though everyone said to just kill it since it wasn't going to make it with the broken leg, this actually does bring the adults to the trailers, with the mother taking the baby and hiding it in a tree. Then they both try to push the trailers off a cliff. Thorn then shows up, scaring away the Rexes, who take their baby and leave. Unlike in the movie, only about half the trailer falls off of the cliff, though Ian does end up re-injuring himself. Basically takes himself out of commission for the rest of the novel because he reopened the wound from the first novel. After this, the next time and last time we see the Tyrannosaurus Rexes is when Sarah and Dodson are actually hiding underneath the car. One of the Rexes attempts to move the car in order to get to them. However, Sarah, basically thinking quickly, pushes Dodson out from underneath the car, where the Rex carries him back to the nest, and he is then eaten by the baby Rexes alive. So yeah, she essentially just goes, you know what, it's me or you, and it's me today. So she just is a really strong woman in the novel, and she just pushes him out from underneath the car, and the Tyrannosaurus just takes him. After this, the final dinosaur species we actually see are the Velociraptors. So Sarah sees the Velociraptors chasing a Dryosaurus. However, she notes that there are way more raptors than necessary to catch it. She tries to observe them, however notes that they are fighting over the food, with 2 of them fighting and 1 of them dying during the fight just to be eaten by its other pack members. She also noted that a younger raptor was being snapped at by the adults, like they did not care about the younger member, which is kind of strange compared to the raptors in the first novel. After that, we see them attacking the Triceratops herd and basically being fended off like we've already discussed. King actually runs into the raptors after escaping the packies, with the entire pack attacking him. They do successfully end up catching him and killing him, ripping off his head, and one of them eating his chocolate bar, which actually becomes very important later on. When they were done, the raptors went under the high hide, and the one who had enjoyed the candy bar found the wrappers that Levine had tossed on the ground. This alerted the raptors to their position, and the whole pack starts jumping towards the high hide, basically hooking their claws in, and they start to climb in. Eddie falls out and is eaten by the raptors. In the struggle, Arby also falls out and has to crawl into a cage. Unfortunately for him, though, the raptors decide to take him and Eddie back to their nest to consume them, with one getting the key to the cage that Arby is stuck in actually stuck around his bottom jaw. The group then has to basically split up, with Sarah and Kelly going after the raptor with the key around its jaw on the motorcycle, and Levine going after Arby to the nest. So Sarah and Kelly then chase the raptor into the Apatosaurus herd, and Kelly shoots the raptor and takes back the key. Thorn and Levine, by this point, have followed the pack back to their nesting site at the bend in the river, where the raptors are fighting over Eddie's body. Levine notices that the nest site was a complete mess. Unlike the nest site from the first novel, the nests weren't made very well and they had clearly been stepped on with bones and eggshells everywhere. He also noted that there were only 3 juveniles and they were not looking great, basically appearing really skinny and basically really undernourished. However, though, at this point, they still gotta get Arby back, so the pair just say, let's do it, drive directly into the nest, where Thorn jumps out and throws Arby, cage and all, into the car, all the while the raptors are attacking, with one biting and clawing into the canvas of the Jeep. This raptor has a tug of war with Thorn over the cage until Levine pointed his gun at the raptor, where the raptor instinctively bites onto the end of the gun, which basically signed its death warrant, with Thorn pulling the trigger, and he kills the raptor. However, in the process of this, he does lose his gun. The rest of the pack also catches up with them, with one jumping on the hood, one biting the mirror off of the Jeep, this one being slammed into a rock by Thorn, and one landing on top of the canvas of the Jeep. The final raptor lands inside of the Jeep, but it is shot and killed by Sarah and Kelly because they just managed to make it back. However, at this point, the Jeep ends up in the Carnotaurus' territory, and the pack starts to chase after Sarah and Kelly because they can't go after the Jeep anymore because they're not going into the Carnotaurus' territory. So Sarah and Kelly are basically going back to the vehicle for Malcolm at this point, and they end up trapping all of them in the trailer. But there's actually nerve gas inside of the trailer because they actually came prepared, and they throw this at the raptors, and it basically scares them off with these gas grenades. The gas grenades don't actually go off at first, but then the raptors bite into them because they don't know what it is, and that's what sets off the gas, and basically it paralyzes the whole group of velociraptors. The final time we see the raptors is where they actually attack the shop that everybody else is hiding in during the daylight, because the Carnotaurus don't hunt during the day and the raptors can actually go into the territory. So they follow everyone into the shop where everybody's hiding at, and they basically start slamming into the doors, the windows, and the walls. They do manage to break in, however, by that time it was too late for them. The humans had already managed to get out through a little maintenance hatch, and they all did manage to escape. Unfortunately, though, like in the first novel, it is actually shown that most of the dinosaurs on this island are infected by a prion disease known as the DX virus. So though the island in this novel is not destroyed, it is actually revealed that the dinosaurs really don't have that much longer that they're going to make it, with the population collapse eventually being inevitable. If you guys would like to know more about the DX virus, I'm actually going to be covering that in my next Jurassic Park video next Thursday. We were going to go over all about this and what it is and how it's affecting the dinosaurs. Once again though, guys, I have to give a huge shout out to the Dino Facts. He has a video on his channel that directly compares the novel to the film, and that is actually where a good chunk of the information that I had for this video came from, as well as the novel and other sources. So please, I'm going to leave the link to his video in the description. Please go over there and show him some awesome love and check out his video. As well as, guys, while you're down there in that description, please remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video from me. As well as, guys, please drop comments down below with any other Jurassic Park content you would like for me to cover, any questions you have, and did you guys already know about all of this, and how did you guys enjoy the novel if you've read it. Also, guys, please follow me on all my social medias, which are going to be coming up next, and I will see you guys in the next video.